According to a government newspaper published Thursday, April 6, 14,771 megawatts must be generated from renewable energy and energy storage sources. The Department of Mineral Resources and Energy has summarized the following breakdown of energy resources: solar PV, 3,940 megawatts, wind, 9,600 megawatts, energy storage, 1,231 megawatts. The above amounts form part of the government's plan to implement more renewable additional energy between 2024 and 2030, as outlined in the Integrated Resource Plan for Electricity 2019 to 2030. Eskom is encouraged to purchase large quantities of renewable energy from independent power producers. IRP 2019, with these details, is a technical document that reveals the country's electricity infrastructure development plan. This massive surge in renewable energy sources comes as there is little delay for the constant power cuts that plague South Africans' daily lives and ongoing job opportunities. Procurement programs facilitated by department are intended to target connection to the national grid as soon as reasonably practicable, in accordance with stipulated timetable. Obstacle: as the government consolidated its efforts towards renewable energy, it faced some hurdles on the ground. The solar component bidding window was filled at end of March 2023, while wind component window was completely missed. This is because the areas for which these projects are proposed have no room to progress in the national grid. Significant investment in the grid itself is required to make room for greater wind power requirements, which makes up the bulk of its officially published renewable stock. Another problem with renewables is that without additional infrastructure, such as battery storage, they cannot reliably contribute to country's base load or provide needed support for country's power supply at peak demand, according to new Electricity Minister, Kgosientsho Ramokgopa. At a media briefing on Thursday, Minister highlighted that South Africa is experiencing a peak of demand between 05:30–0800 in the morning and between 18:00–2 in evening. Renewables, meanwhile, have the highest energy production between 08:30 and 16:30, he said. Tipping point: the push renewable energy has been underway for years, but in 2023, public protests over load shedding reached a tipping point, and the government eventually had to open the legal ground private electricity generation on a personal and commercial scale. Various initiatives and steps have already been taken to facilitate rapid adoption in new generations. On March 9, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Competition published draft hour exemptions for energy suppliers and users. DTIC Minister Ebrahim Patel said the newly enacted regulations would exempt certain agreements and business practices made by energy suppliers and users to increase new energy production. Exemptions include agreements for the joint purchase of alternative energy supply for the national grid, financing of alternative supplies and various procurement practices. While these exemptions were made under the national emergency, which was terminated this week, Romakgopa assured them they would remain in effect. See the full newspaper below. Read load shedding changes for the long Easter weekend. Here's the new schedule.